like me, you love to fight people for no reason. And in Marvel Rivals, NetEase has released one of the best melee characters ever designed in this game. And if you want to become the best at him, you've come to the right place. Because in this video, I'm going to be showing you how his abilities work, some cool combos, important hero interactions you need to know, and the gameplay loop that you should be doing with this character. So if all that sounds good to you, make sure you stick to the end of the video because there is a ton that I'm going to be going through. And without further ado, let's get straight into it. Now first, if you haven't already, you need to go to his settings, because you might realize you're legitimately blind with this character. So once you get there, scroll down until you see something that says radar sense background brightness and crank that all the way down. Because as you can see now, you can see way more than what you could before. A second thing you might notice is that it's kind of hard to differentiate your teammates to your enemies when looking through walls. So once again, go to your settings and go to scan line effects, follow accessibility settings and turn that on. Then move over to the accessibility tab and change ally color to blue, which by default is default. And I don't know about you, but the difference is pretty noticeable. Now the first thing we're going to go over is his primary fire or the Justice Jab. These are melees that have a 4.5 meter range to them, dealing 35 damage per hit. Every 2 hits gives you 1 stack of fury, and I'll get into that mechanic a little later. Now these are different to your quick melee, as the quick melees have a shorter range compared to the billy clubs, and the quick melees require 3 hits to build 1 stack of fury. One thing that you can do is weave in the quick melees with your primary fire, and you might be asking, well, is there a point of doing that? Well, I actually compared all the melee combinations and found out that using the primary only has the fastest time to kill. However, I found out that using the primary and the melee at the same time does help build the fury stacks much quicker. And with this knowledge, it will actually be very important to keep using the quick melee in between your combos, as I will show you a little later in the combo section of the video how this will help you. So really do get used to using the quick melee a lot when using Daredevil, because you're going to be weaving in the quick melee in between the next ability I'm going to be covering, Infernal Fury. Now when activated, you will have 2 options of using Devil's Chain or Devil's Throw. Devil's Throw does 32.5 damage and can ricochet up to 4 times max, up to 2 if there are no targets. Being hit by this ability also does slow you by 20%, and you also gain 50 bonus health. The other option is Devil's Chain, and this has 8 meters of range and also converts damage into bonus health, and there can be 2 different damage numbers when using this ability. It will do 80 damage when the target is caught in the X and 40 if you miss. Now this is very crucial in a combo I'm going to show you later in the video, as missing this will make you miss certain breakpoints. Now with both abilities giving you overshield, the max amount you can get is 125, meaning that you can have 450 health at once. And anytime you use these abilities, it will consume 2 stacks of fury, which is why it's so important to know how to get your fury stacks back quick and use your melees properly to build those stacks. Now one way you can get your fury stacks back instantly is using Devil's Lash or his grapple. His grapple has a max of 25 meters and is on a 12-second cooldown. This ability will grapple and can also pull enemies towards your team, but unlike Bucky's hook though, it will pull you towards your enemies at the same time. After you use this grapple though, you can also bunny hop afterwards, which is really good for Daredevil rollouts so that you can get back to your team quicker after you feed. And to bunny hop on Daredevil after using your grapple, you want to change your jump to scroll wheel, and while you're grappling, when you see the mist on your screen, that is when you want to start scrolling, and you kind of want to do like a bump 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 bump, if that kind of makes sense. For my controller players, I have heard that it is possible, but the timing might be a little more strict. I do want to note that after you use this grapple or your Infernal Fury, you do have the option of using the Righteous Cross ability, and there's a 5-second window. To be honest, it's just another melee ability that does do 50 damage, and you also gain like half a stack of fury on hit. And the reason why I tell you about this bunny hop tech is that it helps you with your rollout coming out from spawn or just traversing the map way more efficiently. And hey, I'll give you an early rollout combo since you stuck this far into the video. So when you come out of spawn, you want to activate Infernal Fury and click any of the 2 options into a Righteous Cross, and then after that, grapple and bunny hop for as long as you can into another Righteous Cross. Not only will you still have max fury stacks, but you will also have gotten to your destination much quicker. Moving on, the next ability is going to be Sonic Pursuit, and this ability honestly does a lot. Not only does it help you lock onto a target so that you can track them, you gain increased movement speed and damage reduction when you're being attacked. You're also able to dash to your target, blinds them for a little bit, and the dash does 20 damage. Now if you use this dash and you don't get a kill, it will be 15 seconds that you're going to be waiting. However, if you do kill the person that you marked, you will get your dash refunded entirely, and you also gain 2 stacks of fury if you successfully connect your dash. To me personally, I'm a sucker for cooldown resetting, so this ability to me is kind of a W. I would also like to mention that with this ability and using it with his passive being, just to be honest, wall hacks, if you mark someone, it does let you see them a little bit farther than if you didn't mark them. Now, I do want to mention that when you mark your opponent, it will notify them that they are being targeted, so don't mark them until you actually engage. His next ability is called Objection, and to be honest, this is just a deflect ability lasting for 1.5 seconds, and this ability is actually insane, letting you deflect entire ultimates, making you almost damn near immortal. Now, I say almost because there are a couple exceptions to this rule, which I will cover a bit later in the video with the key interactions with heroes. I also want to mention that when you do successfully parry or deflect something, you gain 2 stacks of fury back, so this is yet another way of getting your fury stacks back. Now, last but not least, his ultimate, Let the devil out, lasts for 8 seconds and does 50 damage over time, but it can do 85 damage over time if the characters have the max blind stacks on them. Now, this isn't simply just a radius that does damage, because the enemies have to be looking at you to build up these blind stacks, and it takes 3 full seconds of the enemy looking at you to get the max amount of blind. Not only that, but while this ultimate is going on, you will continuously gain fury stacks while it's active, meaning that while you're in your ultimate, you should be spamming Devil's Chain and Devil's Throw to gain overshield and do tons of damage. And lastly, I would say his last ability slash passive is that he can wall climb and just hang on the wall. But now let me teach you the combo to use with all this knowledge that I just gave you. Now, for the first combo I'm going to show you, this is going to be your bread and butter combo, so really get used to doing this. Now, first, you can do whatever order, but activate Infernal Fury and then mark them. Then you want to do in Devil's Throw, dash in into 2 quick melees, then Righteous Cross, activate Infernal Fury again into Devil's Chain, and then a Righteous Cross. Now, I want to make it very clear that you want to aim at the floor on Devil's Chain, because if you don't, you will miss out on the max damage, not letting you get the kill on 275 HP heroes. And in full speed, it would look something like this. Now, on 275 HP heroes, you can get away without doing the quick melees in between, but you will be missing out on fury stacks. And getting used to meleeing will help you stay in the fight longer as you're building more fury stacks, meaning you're getting more overshields and will eventually just get a kill. And the start of the combo is literally the same thing, except now before you Righteous Cross, you want to weave in some melees because your primary fire is now the Righteous Cross. And if worse comes to worse, you can use your grapple to restore your fury stacks to kill them. Now, this is a very committal combo because you have only your deflect to get out now, but hey, if they're not dead by now, either they're getting so much healing or you just messed up somewhere. Now, this next combo is for when you have 0 fury stacks and you need to use your grapple to reel someone in, and after you grapple them in, melee into a Righteous Cross, into Devil's Chain, melee and Devil's Chain, and then yeah, you kind of get the point. And it looks like this at full speed. And for this last combo, it's literally the same thing as the first combo, except this time, instead of using Devil's Chain, you use Devil's Throw. And while this won't one-shot one person, this does do a lot of damage to multiple people around you. And to be honest, that's the main combo that you want to learn in order to climb. Since there's going to be a lot of people peeling for you, getting that Devil's Throw and hitting multiple people at once will help you not only build ult charge, but get your debuffs on them and just get a lot of damage in at once. I will say though, the Devil's Chain variation is really good for isolated 1v1s though. So you do need to adapt your combos for certain scenarios. With all that being said, let me show you the key interactions you need to take note on when 1v1ing other characters. Now, I am just going to have a lot of these playing in the background for your curiosity and really just talk about the key ones that I found very interesting. Now, if you have played Overwatch and played the character Genji, you might know that he cannot deflect beams. So can Daredevil deflect beams in Rivals? And to answer that question is yes. He can deflect all beams, all suck abilities, and all that. Does that make him better than Genji in Overwatch? Debatable. As you may already know, he can deflect things like Mag ult, Iron Man ult, and just eat Scarlet Witch ults for no reason. And you would think he's invincible. However, there are some exceptions to this rule. If you're sitting in a Namor ult and the center is behind you, it will kill you. You'll get eaten by a Jeff ult. BP ult will go through along with his dashes and kick. And weirdly, Blade's dash will damage you, but not the follow-up damage. Same thing with Magic. She will also do damage with her dash, but she will not be able to damage you with her actual sword. And Emma Frost, if she hits you with her E-crystal thing, if you're deflecting while she detonates it, it will still do damage to you. She can also grab you during deflect, so watch out for that too. Also, Bucky can uppercut Earthbound you still, so watch out for that as well. Now, I think the weirdest thing to me is the Jeff ult being able to eat you, because I know on Iron Fist and Blade, you will just completely ignore it. But I guess you don't have a notification that your health is like gold so that it tells you you're immortal in that. I don't know. Another key thing is that your ultimate will go through shields because it relies on sight and not a shield. So do not be afraid to pop this ult when shields are up still. And with bubble shields, your ultimate will still stack the blindness unless they pop the bubble before they started looking at you during your ultimate. If your ultimate is popped and they're looking at you and then they pop their bubble, it will still blind stack. And believe it or not, there's one more thing, and is that you can build Fury stacks on Namor turrets. You can also build them off Loki clones, but the weirdest thing to me is that you cannot build it on things like a Groot wall, which is kind of weird, and I don't really know why, but there you go. Anyways, with all those hero interactions out the way, let me show you what you should be doing on Daredevil so that you can be the best Daredevil there ever was. Now, Daredevil is like your traditional off-angling melee DPS, but low-key, this guy can do everything a melee character can do. He can brawl, flank, and mark opposing flanking DPS very well, since, you know, he has wall hacks. If you've played Iron Fist or Black Panther, the flow of his gameplay loop is very similar to them, to where you want to pressure the backline, get them distracted, get heads turning to you, feel out the situation, how they react to your engagements, as well as try to draw out important resources. And if you have no idea what I'm saying, let me show you with an in-game example. Now on this map, I like going to the left hallway and just hard flank since a lot of people don't expect this. And I can gather early intel rather than coming through main. I see 3 people in their backline, meaning I have an opportunity to distract them, meaning I'm drawing resources away from their front line so that hopefully my team can kill their front line. And I also noticed the Hulk jumping in, so I help him as well. And we absolutely just destroy the Rocket and the Hawkeye. After I use my cooldowns, I come back to my own front line and just kind of brawl it out and build up my stacks again, either waiting until we kill this front line or just go for their backline again once I have all my stacks again. Fast forwarding a little bit, I notice my Hulk's in, so I kind of rotate and just use my cooldowns, and I have my deflect to get out if things get hairy. I have my Fury stacks again so that I can just wait for the right opportunity, waiting in their backline. And once they push up a little more, I decide to engage and be a disruptor, since their front line again is going to get their resources drawn since the Luna's busy with me, and same with the Rocket. So either their frontline peels for me or my team walks into them. And that's your job as a resource drawer. Now, another thing that Daredevil is really good at doing is marking enemy DPS, as he can see through walls, meaning that he can mark people like Black Panther or Psylocke trying to get into your backline. So your job is to stop them from doing that to your backline. Since, I mean, if there's 2 flankers, one of you is trying to be a playmaker, so you have to be the one to be the play stopper. And if you're the one taking out the playmaker, you're the only one left on the field, if that makes sense. So in summary, go for an off angle, draw out resources from their backline, give your team an opportunity to do something to their front line while you're distracting them. If things get crazy and resources are drawn, you have a deflect and a grapple to get out. Brawl with your front line just to get some Fury stacks back, and then repeat the process until their whole team is dead. And if they have an opposing flanker, you have a mission to stop them from dealing with your backline. And to be honest, that's really all I got for you guys. I know this was a really long video, but this character is pretty complicated, but he's super rewarding when you get these plays off. And I hope that you guys enjoyed this video as much as I did making it. If you learned something from this video, liking and subscribing does help me out quite a lot, and it motivates me to make more videos for you guys. If you did feel like I missed anything in this video, like combos or tips, let me know down in the comments below, and also help out your fellow Daredevil mains. If you have any questions, I do stream on Fridays and Saturdays at 6 p.m. PST on twitch.tv/vpizz_, and let me know what guide you want to see next. And as always, guys, take care of yourself, take care of each other. Peace and love, baby.